I'm actually very proud of the work we've done with USAID. For example, I don't regret cutting $10 million for male circumcisions in Mozambique. I don't know how that makes us stronger and more prosperous as a nation.
Welcome back to the channel, folks. I came across this video of a heated exchange between Secretary of State Senator Marco Rubio and Democrat Senator Chris Van Hollen that honestly made me want to stand up and clap when I first saw it. And folks, this is one of those moments where you see a politician actually saying, "Are all thinking." Now, before we dive in, smash that like button if you believe that being a guest in this country means respecting our laws. And subscribe because we don't shy away from the tough conversations here. Now, here's what you need to understand before we roll this clip. Van Hollen and Rubio served together in the Senate for years. 15 years. They were colleagues. They sat on committees together. They knew each other. And Van Hollen starts his time by looking Rubio in the eye and saying, and I'm quoting directly here, "I regret voting for you for Secretary of State." Think about that for a second. This isn't some random backbencher. This is a sitting senator telling a sitting Secretary of State to his face that he regrets helping put him in that position. And the accusations, oh, they get worse. Van Hollen accuses Rubio of standing by while Elon Musk took a chainsaw to USAID. He accuses him of making a mockery of our refugee process. He brings up a deportation case involving someone named Kilmar Abrego Garcia. It is a vicious attack, unrelenting, personal. But here's the thing about Marco Rubio that Van Hollen apparently forgot. Rubio does not just sit there and take it. What happens next? Rubio asks for permission to respond. And when he gets that microphone back, folks, he does not miss. We're going to break this down line by line, because there is so much here that the mainstream media is not telling you. They want you to think Rubio got owned. They want you to think Van Hollen landed some devastating blow. By the time we're done today, you're going to see exactly who came out on top in this exchange.
I have to tell you directly and personally that I regret voting for you for Secretary of State. I yield back.
May I respond?
You may sit.
Well, first of all, your regret for voting for me confirms I'm doing a good job, based on what I know.
Well, that's just a flippant statement, Mr. Secretary.
Can I respond, Mr. Chairman?
You may.
I didn't ask
Senator, please let the Secretary have
I'd be
the floor.
happy to, but then I can respond to his
Your
response.
time's up, Senator, and willfully used, I might add. Your remarks do not represent the view of this committee.
Well, Mr.
Secretary, please.
Well, I'd like to. I can't respond to everything he said because much of these are untrue, but I'll go through a few. First of all, I'm actually very proud of the work we've done with USAID. For example, I don't regret cutting $10 million for male circumcisions in Mozambique. I don't know how that makes us stronger and more prosperous as a nation. I don't regret psychosocial support services.
I raised Sudan, Mr. Secretary.
Can I respond, Mr.
Senator? Senator, I'd ask you to suspend. You had 7 straight minutes of
I chose to use my time that way, Mr. Chairman. That's my right to
Please
use
suspend
my time that way.
Secretary Rubio.
Well, I can go on. I mean, there's other things here. We spent $227,000 for Big Cat's YouTube channel from USAID. We spent $14 million for social cohesion in Mali, whatever the hell that means. So I can go on and on. I got the list here, and there's more. I didn't even bring the whole list. In the case of El Salvador, absolutely. Absolutely. We deported gang members, including the one you had a margarita with. And that guy is a human trafficker, and that guy is a gangbanger, and the evidence is going to be clear. In the days to come, you're going to see who you went to defend.
Senator,
I'm sorry,
please,
Mr. Chairman.
Secretary Rubio has the floor.
Mr. Chairman, he can't make unsubstantiated
Senator,
comments like that.
Secretary Rubio has the floor. You
Secretary
had your time.
Rubio should take that testimony to the federal court of the United States because he hasn't done it under oath.
Here's another point, okay? There is a division in our government between the federal branch and the judicial branch. No judge in the judicial branch cannot tell me or the president how to conduct foreign policy. No judge can tell me how I have to outreach to a foreign partner or what I need to say to them. And if I do reach to that foreign partner and talk to them, I have under no obligation to share that with the judiciary branch. Just like a judge cannot order me to negotiate with a foreign minister of Russia, they cannot order me to negotiate with a foreign minister or the president of El Salvador. And if I did negotiate with them, which we have responded to them, and we've told them we've had communications with the president of El Salvador, I am under no obligation, under our division of powers in this country, and to share with the judicial branch how I conducted diplomacy of the United States. It would actually be counterproductive. If I started sharing with courts, or frankly, with the media, my conversations with foreign leaders and all of their details, no foreign leader would talk to me again, and we would break trust with them. So I have complied with every court order. What I won't comply with is an order to disclose what I'm saying and what we're talking about with a foreign leader, because then they won't talk to me. Diplomacy doesn't work that way. About the student visas, let me say this. I don't deport anybody, and I don't snatch anybody. The State Department does not have officers in the street snatching everybody. What I do is revoke visas. And it's very simple. A visa is not a right. It is a privilege. People apply for student visas to come into the United States and study. And if you tell me that you're coming to the United States to lead campus crusades, to take over libraries and try to burn down buildings and acts of violence, we're not going to give you a visa.
Is that what Ms. Ozturk did?
We're not going to give you a visa.
Is that what she
And if you
did?
do
Come
that-
on, Mr. Secretary.
And every single
You're
one of
just
these
blowing
cases, the
smoke
factors
here
are
now.
different.
Senator-
The bottom line is, if you're
Senator,
coming here to
we-
stir up trouble on our campuses, we will deny you a visa. And if you
Does
have
the
a
First
visa
Amendment
and we find
apply
you,
to
we'll
people
revoke
living in
it.
the United
And
States?
we're going to do more. There are more coming. We're going to continue to revoke the visas of people who are here as guests and are disrupting our higher education facilities. People are paying money. These kids pay money to go to school, and they have to walk through
Writing
a bunch
an
of
op-ed
lunatics
to the
who are
tough
here on student
newspapers
visas.
disrupting the
Simple
foreign
as
policy
that.
of the United
I want to
States.
do more. I hope we can
That's
find more of these people.
pathetic, Mr.
In fact, the other day, some guys led a riot. I forgot what university it was, and I asked, please, can you find the arrest records of all the people that were arrested at that riot at that campus? Because if any of them have a visa, we're going to revoke
I
it.
feel so much safer
All right,
when you lock
let's,
up people like Ms. Ozturk, Mr. Secretary.
We've had enough.
And there it is. Chairman Risch bangs the gavel. Van Hollen is silenced. Rubio's final point hangs in the air. Let me walk you through what we just witnessed, because the contrast between these two men could not be clearer. Van Hollen came in hot. He used his entire time to launch a personal, venomous attack on a man he called a colleague for 15 years. He brought up USAID. He brought up refugees. He brought up a tortation case. He accused Rubio of betraying democracy, betraying the Constitution, betraying everything they supposedly stood for together. And then he sat back, probably expecting Rubio to just sit there, take it, to nod politely and move on to the next question like these things always go. Rubio asks for permission to respond. He doesn't interrupt. He doesn't shout. He waits. And then, your regret for voting for me confirms that I'm doing a good job. That one line alone is devastating, because what Rubio is saying is, you didn't vote for me so I could make you comfortable. You didn't vote for me so I could continue the same failed policies you support. You voted for me to do a job, and that job involves making decisions you don't like. Then he goes further. He defends the USAID cuts with specific examples: $10 million for circumcisions in Mozambique, $227,000 for a big cat YouTube channel. These aren't abstract budget items. These are real examples of taxpayer money being flushed down the toilet, and Rubio is saying, yeah, I'm okay with cutting that. But here's where it gets really interesting. Rubio drops a bombe about Van Hollen's trip to El Salvador. He claims the man Van Hollen met with this Kilmarbita Garcia is not some innocent victim. Rubio says, that guy is a human trafficker. That guy is a gangbanger. And the evidence is going to be clear in the days to come. Now watch Van Hollen's reaction to this. He doesn't deny it. He doesn't provide evidence to the contrary. Instead, he shouts, Mr. Chairman, he can't make unsubstantiated comments like that. That's not a defense. That's a procedural objection. That stop him from talking because I don't like what he's saying. If Garcia is truly innocent, if Van Hollen is truly in the right here, why not address the substance? Why not say, here's the evidence that proves you wrong? Instead, he tries to shut Rubio up. And Chairman Risch, he sees right through it. Gavel comes down. Hearing moves on. Van Hollen is left sitting there, his attack completely neutralized. After the hearing, Van Hollen goes on social media and says Rubio had a full MAGA lobotomy. He says, the Marco Rubio who testified today is not the one I served with in the Senate. What Van Hollen is really saying is, the Marco Rubio who used to go along to get along, who used to play by the old Washington rules, who used to let attacks slide for the sake of collegiality, that gone. And I'm frustrated because I can't bully him anymore. That's not a lobotomy, folks. That's called growing a spine. Here's what I want you to take away from this video. We are watching a fundamental shift in how Washington works. For decades, politicians on both sides could say whatever they wanted, attack whoever they wanted, and the targets would just absorb it. Move on. Keep things civil. Marco Rubio is part of a new breed, or maybe I should say, a return to an old breed of leaders who refuse to do that. When attacked, he defends himself. When accused, he provides receipts. When a senator tries to grandstand, he hands them their head on a platter. Chris Van Hollen walked into that room. He was going to deliver a memorable takedown. Instead, he became the cautionary tale. He became the example of what happens when you mistake a lion for a lamb. The media is going to spin this. They're going to focus on Van Hollen's attacks. They're going to ignore Rubio's responses. They're going to pretend the margarita comment was some kind of gaffe instead of a direct, evidence-based accusation. But you saw what happened. You watched the full exchange. You know who came out on top. My question to you is, do you agree with Rubio's stance? Should secretaries of state push back when senators personally attack them? Or should they just sit there and take it for the sake of decorum? Drop your take in the comments. I read every single one. If you want more breakdowns of moments like these moments the mainstream media refuses to show you in full context, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I'll catch you in the next video. God bless.